Hello, this is Savior20061, also known as Christopher Jones, and I finally done it, ladies and gentlemen. I finally done it. After 5 long months of starts and stops and all this going on, I finally read this stupid book by D.H. Lawrence. It's called The Rainbow. Okay, there's a little thing right there. They're probably not doing anything R-rated. I'm just saying. I believe, that's probably Anton and Ursula from the book, and this book was a tough one. This book is not like Stephen King. Okay, this is D.H. Lawrence was a man born in 19th century. He was a romantic, and he wrote romantic books. He wrote romantic books about women, which is kind of funny because he wrote books from the perspective of women at a time when men didn't always respect women that much at all, really. I mean, come on. They were portrayed very simply in works such as, I'd have to say, probably Uncle Tom's Cabin. Actually, that was more 1960 something or something like that. They were portrayed very simply as kind of frail, kind of weak, and they're not frail or weak in this book. But first, I have to tell you what the book is about. The book is essentially about three generations of the Bragwin family over in England, Nottinghamshire, England, someplace like that. And at first it covers Tom Bragwin, who's just kind of a shy, very socially awkward kid, and the second part is about his stepdaughter, Anna Bragwin, who's also kind of a social basket case. And the last person is Ursula Bragwin, who kind of tops off the whole social basket case thing by being one too. It is essentially a romantic book, like I've said already. It follows the characters as they go through their childhood, their adulthood, and as they find people to fall in love with. That's basically the plot. It's basically a life novel, just like John Irving's A Prayer for Owen Meany, in which a boy grows up just like a kite runner. They're called coming of age novels. I call them life novels because that's what they're about. Really, they're about the character's life. And in my opinion, it's a fairly good book. He tackles a lot of themes that I'm not in the mental condition to actually explain. But he does a good job of actually describing the thoughts of the characters as they go through specific parts of their life. Tom Bragwin is very awkward around women, so whenever he flirts with them, every time they flirt back, he gets very uncomfortable, which didn't make any sense to me. Anna Bragwin, the entire point of her relationship with her husband Will Bragwin is that Will tried to control her and that she didn't want to be controlled. Ursula Bragwin, a big part of her development was her trying to actually get a career. I mean, she has this teaching degree or something like that. I don't know, but she might not have a teaching degree. I'm not exactly remembering all the details, but she is able to teach. Kind of. She has to kind of just get the cane and kind of just take it to the kids so they'll start listening to her. How do I explain how I feel about this book? I mean, I can't say that I hate it because I really don't hate it. I didn't hate reading it for the most part. I mean, it kind of dragged on at times, really. A person over on Goodreads.com described it as a psychological novel, which he described as a novel where there's a lot of thinking being done, but not a whole lot. I just noticed this camera's off center. But not a whole lot of action is being done. That's essentially how to describe the book. We know what the characters are feeling. Not else much is happening. So it's it's almost like you're looking at people from. It's almost like looking at an animal from a from the cage of a zoo, I guess, and that's kind of a weird way of putting it. That's honestly how I ended up feeling. Anyway, so can I recommend this novel? Well, the plot is just watching the characters grow up, and the character development is actually fairly good. I mean, like I said, the men are portrayed as actual human beings, and the women are portrayed as human beings. And honestly, D.H. Lawrence also comes across as kind of a suffragist. I mean, I don't know if I could say suffragist, but the fact that he views women and that he portrays them in these 3D forms, that they have wants, that they have desires, that they want to have careers, that they want to have love, that they want to have sex. That wasn't something that people were actually willing to admit. In fact, this book was actually banned in England and America, I believe, until the 1960s. And this was not the only D.H. Lawrence book for that to happen. And it's kind of weird because when you read the book, I mean, there's sex, but there's not. It's not graphic. Okay, it's not like watching The Watchmen. Okay, it's given in a very abstract form, but you're gonna know it when it happens. Especially when it says that the people are coming together or whatever, like they're friggin' Transformers or something, like they're the friggin' Power Rangers with their Zoids. They're coming together. That means they're having sex in the book. Okay, that's what it means. So overall, this book is a classic. I recommend that you read it at least once. I'm not sure if you're going to have to read it twice in order to pick up on the theme that you're going to find here. It's fairly obvious what it's about, in my opinion. It's about the fact that women are three-dimensional creatures with three-dimensional thoughts, and men are going to have to deal with that. And that's what you're going to find with Tom Bragwin dealing with like Lydia. He realizes that she could leave him at any point in time. She could. He doesn't know where she'd go, but it's always possible. She could just leave him. And with Anna, Will wants to control her. But she's not going to let herself be controlled. At least that's what the book tells us. And with Ursula, she wants to have a career. She wants to have a job, and she's going to have one, even though her father Will didn't necessarily approve of that. Because I think the family had money, so she could have just gone with a suitor and just been okay. But she decided she wanted to have a job. Of course, it didn't help that her boyfriend. Well, I'm not gonna say that. So anyway, you'll find this to be a very interesting and very modern book for the time that it was written in. It was published in 1915, I believe. Penguin Books, they're publishing everything these days. What do we got here? 1915. So this is a very modern thinking man in 1915, and this was 10 years before women were able to vote, at least in America. I don't know how it was over in England, but overall, The Rainbow Combat Oasis. You're probably gonna read this at least once. It's not like a Stephen King novel, so don't go into there thinking it's gonna be a Stephen King novel, not a Stephen King novel. Okay, this is a classic, which means that there's not going to be a whole lot of blood-sucking, flesh-eating monsters ripping the faces off of innocent bystanders, which is the kind of books I like. Anyway, I actually recommend the book. Here's the cover. They're doing, I guess they're just hugging when they're naked, but that's fine. I'm going to be doing another review soon, is because I got like a book pack. I got 3 books in one over in Barnes and Noble, I think. Yeah, Barnes and Noble, and it's got Carrie, it's got Salem's Lot, and it's got The Shining. So I'll be doing reviews for those ones very soon. Hopefully, I mean, because they're not that long. So I'll see you then.